Hey guys, welcome back to the Don't Settle Squad podcast, episode 59. Do you need surgery or not? With chronic pain and injury, surgery is usually suggested at some point. So in this episode, I'll show you how to decide. So I've been asked this question many times, and it even came up with a chat with a current client. So I'm working with someone who has foot issues, and he was getting an MRI, and they were saying that it might be a heel spur, so that they're waiting on that. And like, I've had this conversation with so many clients, and with the hundreds of clients that I've worked with, I've dealt with it all. People who didn't have surgeries, people who've had surgeries, people who didn't get surgery, were told to get surgery, but the rehab got them over their issues and they were fine, so they didn't need the surgery. I've had clients who got the surgery, didn't help them, and then the rehab helped them, and there's some people that the rehab didn't help and they needed the surgery. So there is no one answer to this. Like most things in life, it's complicated. It depends is the answer. And we're going to go through it here to give you the best kind of little model to help you run through it yourself and decide if you want to go ahead with the surgery or not. Because surgery, it's a bit of a big deal in ways, which we'll get to here. So just for myself as well, to let you know, like, I've experienced with the two. So I've had two surgeries so far, more on the way. So the two that I've had, the most recent one I got surgery on my right knee for my meniscus. So knee surgery on the meniscus. And the other surgery then was I broke my left leg and tore my left ankle ligaments at the same time. So it's called a Maisonneuve fracture. And I got surgery there to insert a tightrope around the ankle because the ligaments were fully torn and the leg was broken, so things wouldn't set properly. So to get surgery there, I don't think they the ligaments weren't ruptured. I don't think they needed to reattach them. I think it was literally just putting the band around it to help it heal properly. So I've had those two surgeries. My left meniscus is torn, which is annoying me, but I can manage it. So more than likely surgery on that in the future. And, I could go on. There's nerve issues in my neck, which I've been able to manage. I would have guessed there might be a labrum tear in my left hip, but I can manage that. So, again, look, I have a lot of personal experience with these things too. And yeah. No, look, we'll just go into the points because I suppose I'll weave in my own experiences and client experiences into the points that I have. So, first one, start with the low-hanging fruit. Okay, so I'll just name out the three, I suppose. We've point one, start with the low-hanging fruit. Point two, reversible versus irreversible decisions. And number three, what can you live with in hindsight? Okay, so number one, start with the low-hanging fruit. And this is where we have the options of surgery versus movement. And it is a bit crazy, like some of the stuff in the healthcare industry that obviously ticks me off because I've been there for 10 years looking for results when I didn't get them before. But I still remember when I had the 10 years of the chronic pains and injuries in most parts of my body, so like the hips, the knees, the neck, the back, and going in to someone, and one of the first things they suggested was surgery. Which in hindsight is absolutely ridiculous. Like at the time, I didn't know anything at all. And he's the expert, he's like God to me. He's the doctor. And like just the fear that puts in you, the worry, geez, I must be fucked, all these things. It's insane to me. Like we should be going for the low-hanging fruit. Just like I'm saying, what's the easiest non-invasive thing that you can do for your chronic pain, for your injuries? It's movement, it's mobility, it's doing a program. Because like point two, there's nothing that's irreversible there. Try to actually move your body in the way it was designed to move. That wouldn't be the first step, no? Do you see what I'm saying? If it's like movement, like lifestyle factors, etc., surgery is down at the bottom. Like surgery should be the last resort when nothing else is working, or like the rehab isn't working and there's some sort of structural issue that has to be changed. And that's what happened with my right knee. Like I got torn meniscus in both of my knees, and the rehab sorted the left one to a level that I'm happy with. Again, number three, what can you live with? I'm happy with that. I can do jiu-jitsu, I can do martial arts, I can train in the gym, I can do everything I want to do, but it flares up a bit sometimes. Whereas with the right knee, that one was so bad that I couldn't train jiu-jitsu, or I couldn't train martial arts, and I couldn't squat in the gym. So I can't live with that. And I wanted to get the surgery on it. There was structural issues there. I needed to get the meniscus largely taken out. So that's what we do. Start with the low-hanging fruit. If you're someone who has chronic pain injury and someone is suggesting surgery, have you tried the things up here? Surgery's down here. Have you tried these things up here? And just, you have to be honest with yourself. And I saw this YouTube, I did some stretching, I went to this coach, did a bit of his stuff, not really sure if it worked. You haven't tried it properly. And, awareness is the first point of change. You just need to be honest with yourself. Have you fully committed to a program, to like a mobility program for 3 months minimum? If you haven't tried the low-hanging fruit. Maybe you have, it's not worked, cool. Then you start moving down the scale. But that's the main thing. Start with the low-hanging fruit. Because even I'll pull out 2 client examples who got surgery and it didn't help them. Paul Morris in Florida and Tom French in the UK. 2 of those guys had chronic back pain going on for years and both of them got surgery and it didn't help either of them. Because they just got the surgery, did the small bits of basic rehab that's kind of outdated, and were still getting back pain, still couldn't do the sports and activities that they love to do. And if you understand the biopsychosocial model of pain, if you understand how to prepare the body for the demands of sport through mobility, strength, cardio, it makes complete sense. When they told me their stories, I'm like, you're not doing the right stuff, unfortunately, but we're going to do it now. We got Paul to overcome the back pain for years, got him back to the gym, got him back playing golf. And then we got Tom back to the gym and back playing Astro football in his late 40s, or was it? Yeah, I think it was into his late 40s, when they never thought they'd do these things again. And again, nothing crazy or special about them. I've no magic exercises, just basic science on the human body, going for the low-hanging fruit, working on those things. Yeah. So look, you get that point. Start with the low-hanging fruit. Only go for the surgery as a last option, like I've had to do and other people have had to do in certain cases. Second point then, this is a concept I actually heard on it was a podcast, and they mentioned Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, and just about some of his strategies that he used in business. And one of them was reversible versus irreversible decisions. So whenever he's making a decision, one of the first filters he uses is that he bunches them, he gets them all and he puts them through that filter. Is this a reversible decision or is it irreversible? So when he gets the decision to be made, it goes in, okay, that's a reversible decision. He makes that one very quickly. Why? Because it's reversible. There's not much risk. But if he puts it in, the decision comes out here, this is a pretty irreversible decision. That one needs to take a lot of time and consideration because I can't reverse it. And the way he described it was through doors. If I can walk through that door and come back through the door, I'm going to decide quickly. If I walk through that door and I can't come back, that needs a lot of my time and consideration. I'm not going to make any snap decision, no matter who the manager is, because that's what I need to do. And it's the same thing here. We're just applying that to this question: do I need surgery? I suppose you could debate it's reversible in a way, but in other ways it's not. Like, even in those cases, luckily enough that Paul and Tom, the surgery didn't affect the rehab that we did. Like, it didn't help solve the issue, but it didn't make anything worse. But there has been cases where you can go and get a surgery and maybe you didn't even need it, and then the surgery has now messed up your body in a way that you can't recover from with rehab. Like, Jesus, just think about how annoyed you would be if that was me. Holy Lord, that would not be good. Like, the anger I would have over that. But again, look, it'd all eventually come back to myself. Why didn't I take ownership? Why didn't I learn these things? That's why I'm trying to share them with you. And yeah, I suppose that's leading us into point 3, like, what can you live with? So that point 2 is just that concept of reversible versus irreversible decisions. You can think of it, the analogy of the door. If you can't come back out through that door, you better think about that decision. And like, you can bring that over to life. The simple kind of reversible decisions, I don't know, what gym am I going to join? That's reversible. You go to the gym, you don't like it, cool, I'll join a different gym. That's different than, I don't know, I was going to say, who are you going to marry? I suppose that's reversible in a way, but you get what I'm saying. It's a much more crucial decision that you have to make. So you should think a lot more about that one compared to, let's say, which gym am I going to join? So on to point 3 then, what can you live with? Because this is coming back to you. look, I've different programs around. There's the mental freedom one, the lifestyle design. And in the lifestyle design, the biggest regret of humanity is the biggest regret of humanity is I didn't have the courage to live the life true to myself. No, let me get that right now. Not having the courage to live the life true to myself, living the life that others expected of me. So that's the biggest regret of humanity, and it links in here as well. And I've experienced that in pretty much most parts of my life. When you take advice from somebody and you haven't thought about it yourself, and then it doesn't work out, you regret that. Like, you blame them first, and then maybe you learn a bit more about it, and you're kind of like, it's really down to me there. I just outsourced my power to them to try and help me or fix me. I didn't take ownership myself, and they either misled me or they tried to help me and it didn't work, but it doesn't really matter. You're left with regret now because you didn't look into it yourself. So that's what's coming in here. I don't want you to have any regrets over this. As I'm saying, like maybe getting a surgery, you didn't need it, and now that surgery has affected you so much that you can't play your sport ever again. And like, I'll give you an example here. John Danaher, so one of the best jiu-jitsu coaches of all time, which I was talking about in the stories this week, that's what happened to him. So he had a rugby background, with lots of injuries and stuff from rugby. I think it was the knee injuries, and ended up getting a knee surgery, or a few knee surgeries, but one of them, they actually shortened his leg by accident. Now, I can't remember the specific details, but did they shorten, one of the tendons or ligaments? I can't remember exactly what it was, but basically his leg ended up being shorter than it was before the surgery. And because of that, his gait and everything was changing. And because of that, the leg that they shortened, he got so much hip issues on that side that he had to get a hip replacement. And just so many things, it just cascaded like downhill. And like, he couldn't do jiu-jitsu anymore. And like, he's crippled in a way now. Like, he can't use his body at all the way he wants. But in fairness to him, he had the don't settle attitude, the anti-fragile attitude. This terrible thing has happened. What am I going to do? My body's crippled now. I'm going to go all in on my mind. And he studied jiu-jitsu to a depth that most people will never understand. He used his philosophy background. He was a philosophy professor. And he has revolutionized jiu-jitsu. He was the one who brought along like the leg locks, the popularity of leg locks again. And then through training his students, they got so good they started dominating local competitions all the way up to world level. And like, some of the GOATs, like the greatest of all time in jiu-jitsu, are students of his, one of them being Gordon Ryan. And they say they owe it all to John and the way that he thinks about jiu-jitsu. So look, no matter what happens, you don't settle. You take the bad thing, you turn it into something great. But again, John's example here, the surgery, like they messed up his leg and he could never do jiu-jitsu properly again. So you don't want to be in these situations. So how you can think of this is, when you're thinking like, what can I live with here? You can break it down into two things: your quality of life and the sports or activities that you love to do. Like, I'll take my knees example, because as I said, I got surgery on one of them and I didn't on the other one. So I would have went through these things. Let's say the left knee. What's the quality of life like? It's grand. It's pretty much 100% nearly. And then on the sport, that's not 100%. It's about 85 or 90%. Like, for context, I'm back at jiu-jitsu now, going 3 times a week. I want to up it to 4. What will happen is, if I go very hard for a few rounds, my left knee will probably be a little bit sore the next day, just to the stage where I can feel it, be a bit of pain. I might have to limp slightly, and in a day or two it's okay. That's it. So like, it's nothing major when you put it like that, but there can be times there where just in some hard roll, it'll actually hurt me a good bit. And like then I might have to stop jiu-jitsu for a few days. So that's roughly where that one's at. Can I live with that? I can. And it's even making me kind of like John in a way. He's inspired me so much. I've changed my approach now after getting surgery on the other knee. And I have like easy days of jiu-jitsu where I'm thinking more about the moves and I'm going light. Which I started doing that to protect my knee. But it's actually making me learn a lot more. And I'm understanding with John, like, I'm using my mind so much more, thinking about the moves, even making little plans before class, after class, kind of making up for the time I'm not doing the hard rolls and using my mind instead. And I'm actually progressing a lot quicker. So again, like this, turn these bad things into good things, and kind of realising I should have been probably training more like this, except, the ego and hard training, that's just what I did. So for the left knee, do I need surgery? No. My quality of life, I can do the sports and activities I love. I can do them all. The odd time there'll be flare-ups. That's okay. Then on the right knee, quality of life. that was affected. Like, I couldn't bend that knee fully. So, for example, like a random thing, I'm going down to pet my dogs, and then I actually can't bend down fully properly because I'm like, oh shit, if I full deep squat and get up wrong, I won't be able to walk. Like, I actually won't be able to walk on that leg. So, and this has happened a few times before the surgery. So is quality of life affected? Yeah, not massively, as long as I just don't deep squat or kneel down on the floor with my hips on my heels, then I'm okay. But again, it's just like, I'm like, why do I have to think of these things? Like, it was annoying me a little bit. And then in terms of sport and activities, I couldn't do jiu-jitsu. I tried 4 or 5 times. It kept re-tearing, and then I couldn't walk. People had to like carry me out of the gym. That happened 5 times. Yeah, I walked the tightrope line of not settling and being a bit of an idiot sometimes. So the 5th one was the final straw, and I stopped. So I couldn't do martial arts anymore, the kickboxing either, couldn't do jiu-jitsu. And then in the gym, I couldn't squat deep either. So for sport, is that affecting me? Yes. So there you go. The left knee, quality of life, grand. Sport, grand. Largely grand. So I didn't get surgery. The right knee, quality of life affected, even though not so much. Sport and activities, massively affected. So did I get surgery? Yes. And because I tried the rehab on both fully for 3 to 6 months or more. So I knew. So there you go. And another line I just wrote here for myself. It's great to try and wrap all this up in one line that you can remember. And I said, people advise, but you decide. So I just made it up. I was like, actually, that's not too bad. That's what I'd tell younger Mark if I had him here. If I couldn't explain it all, I'd say, if he's asking Mark, do I need surgery? I'll tell you, people advise, but you decide. Even me, I'm just advising you now with the best 3 steps I can come up with here. But people just advise you. At the end of the day, you decide. It's your life, it's your body. You have to live with it if things go wrong. Yeah, so I think we'll finish up there. Yeah, pretty much covered everything. So the ways you can work with me then, physical freedom program. So if you are suffering chronic pain and injury, you want to go for the lower hanging fruit before the surgeries, that's what I have this program first. There's a 1-to-1 option. That's the unlimited access with me. And then there's a membership option as well. So there's a cheaper membership option where there's self-guided programs you can go through there. And there's a group called Once a Week, Tuesday at 1 p.m, where you can come on, ask me any questions on your journey. So I've made it accessible to everyone now. The membership option is priced a few pints. Obviously the 1-to-one's more expensive because you get what you pay for at the end of the day. And lastly, yes, follow and rate the podcast. So if you want to support it, if you're getting value from this, if you listen this far, hopefully you are. The way to support me and the podcast, get it out to more people, follow it on Spotify if you're listening there and just give it a rating. It takes 2 clicks. And then if you're on YouTube, subscribe on YouTube as well. Yeah, so that's it. I suppose I gave no updates at the start, but yeah, no, I'm back. I'm back in Dublin now 2 weeks after Christmas, and I'm back to a full training week this week. I'm tired. It's Saturday. I think I made a few little mistakes there. I was kind of nearly forgetting what I was saying because I'm back into full training and I'm loving it. I trained like 7 times this week. I trained Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, twice Thursday, Friday. Going to train after this today, and then we'll rest on Sunday. So yeah, look, life is good. And yeah, the whole don't settle look. I've had so many chronic pains and injuries over the year, told to retire so many times. Oh, what's the point? Blah, blah, blah. There you go. Trained 7 times this week. 3 martial arts, 3 gym, 1 cardio. Higher VO2 max than most people, higher strength than most people, higher mobility, doing martial arts I love and everything. So look, man, no matter what people are telling you, it's possible to come back. And that's what I'm trying to show you guys. Okay, so enjoy the week and talk to you next time.